But we're talking about the economy. A couple of minutes ago, we had Rand Paul, Senator Rand Paul, whose father, Ron Paul, of course, is a candidate for president. We talked about a lot of things, but we didn't talk much about the economy. We want to do that now. Ron Paul, of course, wants the government out of your life, as Rand Paul told us many times. He also would like the government out of the economy. He would propose cutting spending drastically, cutting spending immediately. CNN financial expert Christine Romans is back to tell us how he'd do it and what his plan is and what it would all mean. Hey, Christine.
Hi there. And, you know, Mark Zandi from Moody'sEconomy.com, when I presented him with this economic plan, I said, you know, what would cutting $1 trillion out of the economy in 1 year do? He said the economy would evaporate. It would evaporate. It's just not feasible. So there you go. That's from middle of the road, The Economist. I mean, going into the election, it's critical to understand, you know, how this is going to impact your money. We're looking at each candidate, what their plan does. I want to start with Ron Paul here. Look, he wants to cut $1 trillion out of a $15 trillion economy in the first year. It would change everything. He wants to cut 440,000 government jobs immediately. He wants to close 1/3 of the cabinet-level departments, Soledad: Commerce, Education, Energy, HUD, the Interior departments. He wants to shut down the TSA, make that be a private sector, take those responsibilities, slash defense funding. He wants to end foreign aid, end the foreign wars, cut defense, bring spending back to 2006 levels. Soledad, this is what it looks like. This red line is his budget, his total outlay. I mean, look at that cliff. He wants to slam the brakes on spending. Compared with what the president proposes, you can see just how dramatic that is. He wants to end the Fed. He says the Federal Reserve is distorting the value of the dollar. He says the Fed printing money to respond to the financial crisis is making it worthless. It will cause dangerous inflation. You've heard this from him many times.
Right. There's a lot here that's sort of no, no, stop, no, 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 no. And it's interesting when you talk to Rand Paul about sort of, we were talking to him earlier, not about the economy, but the sort of sense that both people who are Democrats and people who are Republicans as well are sometimes incredibly fearful of that, what's the right word? I don't think extreme approach to how you do something.
You know, the Senator and I got into a little bit of a disagreement about whether the Civil Rights Act opposition was relevant, and why I thought the fact that he has a lot of minority support was not relevant to the question I was asking. And the reason I didn't think it was relevant is because the real issue with his opposition to the Civil Rights Act is really the same one that Christine brings up. What is the point where ideological consistency becomes an enemy of pragmatic decision-making? And, you know, when you've got people are attracted to the purity of a candidate who takes their views to the limit. But when you take them to the limit in a lot of different fronts, you end up in places that a lot of Americans kind of look around and say, huh? And I think that the fact that he would go to the House floor in 2004 and say the Civil Rights Act was a mistake after it was probably the single most important piece of domestic legislation passed in the 20th century is kind of analogous to what you see here. There's a lot of suspicion about government. There are a lot of people who want government to be smaller, but can it go too far?
That's what gets people to love him, right? Because it makes sense. It makes sense.
Here in New Hampshire, when you go to these rallies, you talk to Ron Paul supporters, they're saying, why isn't someone saying what he's saying? They're not saying, why isn't he not commander-in-chief right now? It's a different dynamic.
Right, that is true. When I go to his rallies, I think people think it's brilliant and it seems very simple.
And when you compare, I draw this another analogy that Ron made between the civil rights position and the economic position. When you say Ron Paul's economic plan, Ron Paul doesn't have an economic plan for America. Ron Paul has an economic plan for himself. That this is a fundraising operation. This is a direct mail scheme. That's what it always has been.
Yeah, he does believe it.
Well, he tells us, actually, no, he tells us, well, those things I said back in the 1990s under my byline, I don't believe that.
You know, we're learning that a chunk of the Republican coalition believes it, and it's not clear how the party is going to be able to accommodate and react to those voters.
As a direct mail artist, that's what he is.
Okay, so we'll continue this conversation in a moment.